Thanks for braving the storm. Normally this is run by Tom Stablin. I'm not Tom, but I was asked by Dana to kind of help fill in for Tom tonight to kind of help MC. We got a really good speaker tonight. So Alan Langley gets his MBA from Universidad Rey Juan Carlos, his MBA. And then his master's in analytics from Georgia Institute of Technology. Tonight, he is going to discuss explanatory data analysis. So he's going to walk through things around KPIs, data visualization, and storytelling. And the main hook being how to take technology and data and weave it in such a way to meet business needs. And I think it's very topical. No matter how great an engineer you are, or how great an idea you have, and translate it to people who have the money, then it's very hard for those ideas to get through. I also strong-armed him at the very end. He's going to talk about, he just started his own business. And so he's going to talk a little bit about kind of what motivated him to do that, what he needed to do to establish that, to get his business going. I've been in Tampa a little over a year. I've been coming here for almost about 8-9 months. And I've spoken to a lot of you, a lot of talented people, and people here are trying to improve, going to boot camps, trying to improve their career. But I often don't speak to a lot of people here who say, why not me? Why can't I, you know what, I'm working for some big company or work for a small company. Why don't I go off and start my own business? So I'm hoping he can maybe inspire some folks to start to think about why not me, especially in this market with the emergence of AI and ML. I know it's oversaturated, but there is something happening here, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for those who are looking to maybe expand. So with that, Alan, thank you.
Sorry, we faked you out real quick. I just wanted to welcome everybody before Alan does come up here. How many are first timers to the ECC? Okay, wow, amazing. So hopefully this will not be your last time, because we always have amazing programs such as the one you're participating in tonight. We are part of Hillsborough County Economic Development. This is your one-stop shop for business owners to seek resources and assistance at no cost. This is literally your taxpayer dollars at work. So there's a QR code, the blue paper on the table in front of you. I think some are missing it. Anyway, snag one from another table. Scan that QR code, you'll automatically be added to our newsletter list and receive a list of upcoming events that are hosted here on site daily. So be sure to check that out. And I'm sorry, Alan, I jumped right in front of you. I'm going to turn it over to him. And would you like the microphone on?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I don't know how loud you are, if you're loud like me. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alan. Okay, I'm from Peru. So this is something curious about our last name. We have two last names. So my last name is Ferrandis Lange. So it's not like it's Ferrandis Lange. So I'm come from Peru. I'm 4 years. I came 4 years ago to the United States. I'm an engineer. Yes, I'm starting a company with my co-founder. He's also a migrant as me. He's from Serbia, from Peru. And yes, this is the opportunity I have. I'm very happy to share part of my research since I came to the United States. It's about communication with data. It's about how data can actually improve the decision making by optimizing the communication through something called explanatory data analysis. Okay, this is the explanatory data analysis. This is not a term I invented; someone else invented it. Okay, I'm just communicating and spreading the message. Okay, so I'm a data. Actually, I work for a company in California called Social Insurance Services. I'm a data engineer there and a BI engineer. Also co-founder, Core Analytica, a new business we are starting. And here I'm going to talk about communication with data. Okay. Okay, this is a screenshot of 2012, more than 10 years ago. So DJ Patu and Tom Davenport, who's an author I love, and DJ Patu, he was a first data scientist of the White House or something like that. Okay, they wrote this article, data scientists, that says the sexiest job of the 21st century. Okay, just 1 second. If I mispronounce any word, okay, I'm sorry, Abraham. I speak Spanish, yo hablo español. So, okay, I will try to do my best. Okay, so this is the data scientist. They say the data scientist is the sexiest job of the 21st century. Okay, you found this sexy? Oh my God, how sexy. Oh, yeah. What happens if you present this, you show this to a manager in a meeting? What would the manager say to you? Please have a seat. Hey, don't you find this sexy? No, I don't. Okay, so this is something to begin with. Okay, so this definition is about analytics, not my definition. I got the definition from Wikipedia, which is like $1 more. It's like one level more than Wikipedia. Okay, so analytics is a scientific process of two things: discovering and communicating. Again, discovering and communicating. Okay, did you know that analytics was about communication? You think? Okay, communication. Okay, one important part of analytics is communication. Okay, the problem is that we don't pay attention to that communication part. Even Google doesn't know what that analytics, okay, that the communication is part of analytics. Okay, it is concerned into turning raw data into insight for making better decisions. You know, the title of this talk is from raw data to data-driven business decisions. Good. So this is analytics: discovering and communicating. Discovering and communicating. Discovering is in green, communicating is in yellow. So let me start with this. So let's see. I'm going to ask you a question. This is a funny question. Okay. Would you lend me some money?
How much?
Why not? I know. Take your time to think about.
What are you
Okay.
gonna use it for?
Okay, this is private. Okay, but would you lend me some money? The most common answer is no. But why? I don't know you. Okay, I don't trust you. Okay, yes, that's right. I mean, I don't take it personal. Okay. Okay, but what if I show you this? What if I show you this? Again, well, if you were a bank, no,
I need to change your slide. I work for FICO. All of them use.
yeah, actually, FICO is higher. Okay.
Their score is.
So, if you were a bank, work in the bank, would you lend me some money? Yes, of course. Yes, okay. Did I change your mind with data?
Yes.
Okay, so this is called, congratulations, you just made a data-driven decision. Okay, this is a data-driven decision. You said no, but then I showed you data, and then you change your mind. This is data-driven decision, okay? I think Edward Deming said once that in God we trust, all others bring data. Okay, I brought data. Okay, so let's continue with the talk. Okay, so we're going to talk about first. We're going to mention exploratory data analysis. Okay, you might have heard about exploratory data analysis. Any data science course program has a course of a chapter of course of exploratory data analysis and explanatory data analysis. Have you heard about explanatory data analysis? Could you please raise your hand if you have heard about explanatory data analysis? Good. Okay. So let's talk about exploratory data analysis, EDA. It's an approach to analyze data sets to summarize their main characteristics. Okay. So you are getting to know the data using statistics, okay, and other data visualization methods. Okay, so we can see what the data can tell us beyond the formal model. Okay, we're getting to know the data. Good. So you look for exploratory data analysis. In Coursera, for example, you have hundreds of courses, okay, or chapters in courses. That's fine. It's very popular. And you see that part of the process of exploratory data analysis has to do with processing, cleaning, understanding, okay, before modeling. Okay, so this is something that you might be familiar with. Okay, for example, using visualization techniques, we can understand what the data tells us. You know how this graphic is called? Scatter chart. What the scatter chart can tell us about data, about two variables, for example. Correlation and statistics. Measure statistical correlation. So this is actually this is part of exploratory data analysis. You can understand the correlation of two variables, okay, using a graphic. Okay, so this is very common in linear regression, for example. Okay, so when you do a linear regression, you perform a linear regression, you get an R-square, for example. But if you want to see what the relationship between variables is, you can use this scatter chart. Okay, awesome. So I'm not talking about the statistics now. So exploratory data analysis is important. Okay, so these steps are part of exploratory data analysis. But what about this part? I mean, there's a whole lot of steps here. And what about the show business insight? I mean, this is like a little part of communication. Okay, so, and this is real. I searched for, I Googled this today. When you search explanatory data analysis, even Google does not, even Google thinks that you are wrong. Are you sure you said explanatory? Didn't you mean exploratory? No, explanatory. Even Google doesn't understand the importance of explanatory data. Google, I mean, there is not a single reading. There are results, okay, but the main results are about exploratory data analysis. Why Google the courses they give a lot of importance to exploratory data analysis, and they give little or no importance to explanatory data analysis. In data science programs, you have data visualization courses, right? But explanatory data analysis is more. Actually, data visualization is part of explanatory data analysis. The communication is not only about visualization, it's more than that, right? So, what is explanatory data analysis? Okay, so first, I would like to recommend the book that in which I read this term in 2016. The book is called Storytelling with Data by Cole Nussbaumer. It's the best book on data visualization and communication I read. Storytelling with Data by Cole Nussbaumer. I bought it in 2016. I was living in Peru, and this book changed my life because I understood the importance of communication, what's behind the data, but not only through equations, but visually. I am a visual person. We are visual. Humans are visual. So this book helped me to understand data in a way that I never understood before. So I have the screenshot of at the end. Okay, read this book. Storytelling with Data by Cole Nussbaumer. This girl was a Googler, okay, and then she started her own company. Okay, so explanatory data analysis is a part of analytics that communicates. It's not discovering. It's about communication. Okay, communication of what? Of the findings in data in an effective way. To who? To an audience. What kind of audience? Business audience? Yes. Technical audience? Yes. One problem that we engineers or data scientists, data engineers have is that I used to be a marketing manager 7 years old back when I lived in Peru. Okay, so, and I realized that all the time I had to translate. I'm an engineer as well, so I had to translate what the IT people said. I had to translate to the business people. They don't understand. They didn't understand. Oh, I mean, this is not a rule. This used to happen. Okay, this happen frequently, but it's not all the time. I'm not like generalized. Okay, but you need translation when technical people start presenting data. Okay, is it true? Most of the time. Most of the time. Okay, so explanatory data analysis is a part of analytics that communicates findings in data effectively to an audience, any kind of audience, an audience that is avid of making decisions by combining three main skills. It's not about only data visualization. It's about a combination of skills, not tools, skills. Again, not tools, skills. A tool is just that, a tool. And skill is something that you know how to do. This is a skill. Okay, so it's data. I'm going to talk about data because data doesn't sound like a skill. I'm going to talk about that. Okay, visualization and narrative. Okay, so it's a combination of these three skills. So this is actually part of my research here in the United States. Okay, data visualization and narrative. Okay, I'm going to show you about what my research is about later. First, data actually is not a skill. Data is the term by which I mean to how we turn data into metrics and KPIs. You remember this? You remember this? Just a second. This? Did I have to show you all the details of my fields, of my payments? What is it? What is this called? Indicator or KPIs. This is a KPI. I mean, KPIs can make you, can help you to make decisions. You just made a decision with KPIs. Okay. Can you mention another kind of KPI which is important for people for making decisions? What about salary? Yearly salary. Is it important to make a decision? Would you marry, man or female, male or female, would you marry a person that makes $500,000 a year? That's a good indicator, right? I mean, your parents will be like, hey, that person is like, I like that person. You know, it's a good indicator. Okay, that's a good indicator. Hey, I'm the same zodiac sign. Hey, I like you. Okay, so the KPI can help you make decisions. Okay, the creative score is a good sign, a good sample of KPIs. Okay, so data is how we turn data into KPI, into metrics and KPIs, which is not the same. Okay, visualization is actually how do we represent data visually. It's how we should represent data using dashboards and reports, and storytelling, which I'm going to mention later. Okay, narrative, to create impact in the audience through stories. Okay, we love stories, for real. Okay, so this is the combination, narrative, visualization, and data. This is what I've been doing for last year in the United States since I started here. I came to the United States to study a PhD. Actually, finished a master because I wanted to work. Okay, but I was obsessed about this part. Okay, so I've been in the last year, I've been giving talks about this topic in many cities in the States, many cities online in the United States. And people love this topic because this is something useful. I mean, useful for like regular people, even people who's not technical. They love this because they can use it. Okay, humans, we do not understand raw data. We don't understand raw data. Okay, remember this? We need to process the data. It's like oil. We don't use oil right from the soil. We have to process the soil, the oil. Okay, we need to process data first. I'm going to talk about from the three parts. I'm going to talk about data. Okay, I'm going to talk about data. Data needs to be processed because humans, we don't understand data. Okay, or raw data. So we need to process and summarize data. When we summarize the data, we transform it, we turn it into something called information. Information is data summarized. That's information. Okay, that's information. Is data summarized. Information is not the same as knowledge. Knowledge is something that we can use to make decisions. But information is that summarized, it's a summarization and processing of data. This is actually information. Okay, but I mean, you might have heard this definition, but how do you turn data into information? Do you know how to? This is like a 101 question, but how do you turn data into information?
Put in a chart.
What?
Put in a chart.
Yes, but before you can place this data in a chart like this.
I think you need to decide what's the problem that you want to answer.
Yes, but before that, yes, you need to summarize. You need to summarize the data. Remember these dimensional facts? Okay, this is intelligence. Okay, this is how we turn data into information. We have to summarize data. How do you summarize? We group it and then we aggregate it. You know, remember pivot tables in Excel? This is dimension facts, grouping and aggregating. That's how we turn data into information. I mean, seems like basic, but all visualization tools, all analytical tools do the same process. This is how we turn data into information. Okay. Good. So when we summarize data, we get something called metrics. A metrics, it's a quantity, it's a number, okay? But it's not just number. It's a quantitative measurement of data in relation to what we're measuring, okay? And like data points, there's a mistake typo there, like just numbers, okay? A metric needs to have a unit. So a metric is not a number. A metric is a number and a unit, okay? A data point is just a number, 3, 4, or something like that, a decimal. But a metric is a number and a unit, okay? Don't you ever forget that. A metric is a number and a unit. 2 miles per hour, $85 per hour, something like that. A metric is a number plus a unit. Okay, so that's what we get when we group and aggregate data. We get metrics, okay? You can try that home. Everything you do in dynamic in pivot table gets something called a metric, okay? It's something called a metric, a number plus a unit. You have to recognize there's a unit there all the time. Okay, so a metric is useful for making decisions? Not really. You can actually measure, you can create metrics of anything. Okay, for example, I showed a moment ago a metric called credit score. Okay, but I can create a metric called number of pixel slices per hour. That's a metric, okay? But the metric called number of pixel slices per hour, is it useful for making decisions? Well, maybe, but I know what kind of decisions. Okay, credit score is useful for making decisions. So a metric which is relevant to make decisions is called KPIs. If a metric is relevant for a business, for a project, for any kind of scenario, it's relevant for making decisions, this is called a KPI, a key performance indicator. Okay, so our predefined metrics to track the progress of certain parameter. Okay, and guess what? How do you create a metric? Sorry, how do you create a KPI? Do you need to create KPI for a business? Actually, you can create, but let me tell you something. Most of the businesses in the world have predefined KPIs to be run. For example, but yes, but financial KPI, for example, ROI, EBITDA,
Yeah. Credit loss ratio. That's-
Yes. For example, in customer services NPS, Net Promoter Score, you know, these are qualified metrics. There is a good book called Key Performance Indicator by I forgot. This guy is an awesome author. Oh, okay, I forgot. There's a book called Key Performance Indicator. Look for it in Amazon. 75 KPIs that every business need to know. I can't remember the guy. Okay, I will tell you later. Okay, this is an awesome book that shows you. I mean, you don't need to create KPIs. KPIs are actually already created. So there are standards. Why are they standards? Because they need to be compared. So they are standards. So you don't need to create. You can create KPIs, but you don't need to. Okay, they are already created. So data is group aggregated, and it's turned into metrics, and then it's called. I mean, you pick the most important metrics for your business, and they are called KPIs. You can create it, you can create them, or you can pick the standard KPIs. That is how business are run everywhere in the world. Okay, KPIs are part of the business. We cannot avoid KPIs. We have KPIs for health. For example, our health, our state of status of health have KPIs. What KPIs are used for health? Blood pressure, for example. What else? Yeah, body mass index. Yes. What else? 98 degrees is the standard health temperature of the body. Okay, so these are KPIs. Anything you see or you observe in the world has KPIs already created. You can create your own KPI. Yes.
But not for new business. Some new KPI would evolve with a new business model. That's only when you have to create new KPIs. Like the Amazon model, first like keep losing money, but they're not using the regular business matrix. But overall, you're true.
Yes, that's
For a new
right.
business, you need a new business model that's never been done before.
That's totally right.
KPI.
Yes, you can create your own KPIs.
Yes.
It's up to
It's
you.
not a traditional business, you know.
Yes, like a startups, for example. All KPIs are metrics, but not all metrics are KPIs. Okay, so what's a KPI? KPIs are like the air we breathe or the water we drink. How is that? The impact of not having them for a long time might be huge. That's how you recognize a KPI. I mean, nobody cares about if there's going to be air today. What about if we don't have air for like 5 minutes? We die. Okay. Well, I mean, what is the most important KPI for a business? For the life of a business?
Cash flow.
Cash flow.
That's the most important statement of the.
Yes, it's not sales, it's cash flow. Because what happens if you don't know your cash flow? Actually, the business goes bankrupt in business when you don't have money to fulfill your obligations as a business. So cash flow is the most important.
Yes.
In the pandemic, businesses they went bankrupt not because of sales, but because of cash flow. This is a very important KPI. So if you don't know your cash flow in any moment, you can be like 1 week, 2 weeks, but then you don't have money. You might go bankrupt. Okay, so KPIs are like the water. You can survive without water like for a week, but then you need to have water. You need it. It's important when you don't have it there. That's how you recognize a KPI. So cash flow for a company, pulse for a doctor, for a patient for a doctor, speed for a car, or altitude of fuel level for a plane. I don't know any pilot that actually departs or take off a plane without knowing the fuel level. Hey, did you fill the tank of the plane? I'm not sure. I mean, that doesn't happen, right? So these are KPIs for business, product, for project, anything. Okay, so we're going to talk about now, we finished data, okay? We're talking about visualization. So can a 6-year-old kid can understand this? Traffic light? Yes, if a 6-year-old kid can understand this visualization, then it's good. A visualization is like a joke. If you need to explain it, then it is not that good. Never forget that. Hey, have you seen in a company, okay, someone presenting a chart? Hey, Mr. CEO, thank you, good afternoon. Here, have you seen that? Someone explaining a chart? Yeah, it's like someone explaining a joke. Imagine like Kevin Hart explaining a joke after saying the joke, after telling the joke, explaining the joke. That doesn't happen. Okay, a visualization, a good visualization is like a joke. If you need to explain it, then it's not that good. Yes. So you can do I need to explain this to you? What's the worst performing state here? Okay, but how do you know you have not seen any number? How do you know? Okay, you understand the visualization without even meaning to explain it. So that's a good visualization. If I need to explain the visualization, you know what, right? It's not that good. So you need to make visualizations self-explanatory, exactly like a joke. Okay, so what is a dashboard? Okay, I see a lot of this on LinkedIn. Hey, Tableau, hey, look at my dashboard in Power BI Tableau. And I want to, this is not a dashboard. Okay, I want to show you what the dashboard is. Okay, a dashboard is an information management tool that monitors, analyzes, and displays a key performance indicator. Remember what key performance indicator is? So a dashboard is a placeholder for KPIs. Okay, to track the status of a company department, project, or process. We tend to confuse dashboard with reports. That's something we suffer a lot, especially linking. Okay, we suffer a lot of disease called confusing dashboard with reports. Okay, so a dashboard is what? It's a placeholder for KPIs. Okay, in Spanish it is called tablero. Okay, and in English it's called dashboard. You know what? You know why it's called a dashboard? Because it's a dashboard. This is a dashboard. Okay, so I'm not sure if I said it here. Okay, dashboard have three characteristics. Okay, first they allow for immediate action. Okay, no, first, what are these in the car? These are KPIs. What will happen if you remove the gas indicator? I mean, you can actually survive without the gas indicator for a while, but then you will need, like the water, right? Or air. You can survive without water, but in a moment you will need it. It's the same for a KPI. That's like a rule for a KPI. Hey, can you survive without this? How do you call this? A speed indicator? Speedometer? Expensive. I mean, you can get fined. I'm sure. Okay, so first, dashboard is full of KPIs. I have not ever seen anybody say, "Hey, this is a dashboard. This is a proper dashboard." Everyone is presenting like Power BI or Tableau reports. This is not dashboard. Okay, so first, dashboard are KPIs. Second, dashboard allow for immediate action. When you're at 70 miles per hour in a driveway, how much time do you have for like taking a look to these KPIs? How much time when you're 70 miles per hour in a driveway? 1 second at most. Okay, so in 1 second you need to know how to take action. This is a good KPI and a good dashboard. You need to see the dashboard, and in 1 second you need to take action. Okay, and the third part, okay, and the third characteristic is they are as close to real time as possible. So what will happen if you get the information of the car dashboard after 1 minute? Not 5 minutes, 1 minute. Will be useful? I mean, most of the KPIs will be useless, right? Just 1 minute of delay. Most of them will be useless, right? So they are the KPIs presented there are as close to real time as possible. Okay, so dashboard is information tool that monitor, analyzes, and visually displays the key performance indicators. Okay, as close to real time as possible. Remember this dashboard. Okay, this is called AKG, I think. Okay, first, okay, are these KPIs? This is, I think, saturation and cardiac pulse. Okay, will you tell a doctor, hey, doctor, why don't you remove the cardiac pulse? It's not important, trust me. Will you say that? No. What will happen if you remove the cardiac pulse indicator? Okay, someone might die, right? So it's important, yes. So that's how you organize the KPI. Second, what happens if this machine will have a 1 minute delay? Someone will die. Okay, it's important. Okay, can a doctor, nurse, or a health professional can take immediate action just by looking at it? I mean, they don't even need to look. They just need to hear. I mean, maybe they don't know the reason why, but they need to take action. So this is a dashboard. I have never seen, okay, someone, hey, look at my dashboard. No, we like the fancy Tableau or Power BI dashboards, right? This is a disease we need to cure, okay? So this is an example of a combination of a dashboard and reports. Actually, these are KPIs and these are not reports. These are like linked to reports. So why do I present here this? Because dashboards actually are general to take action. If you want to not only take action, but understand the reason why there's a problem, you use reports. First are dashboard and then reports. Dashboard actually make you take action and then you understand the reason, the problem through a report. Dashboards lead to reports, right? So a report is different than the dashboard. Reports show detailed data over a defined period of time. So last year sales, this month client, okay, last quarter revenue. There's always a period of time in the report. Always a period of time in the reports. Dashboard do not have a period of time. They are as close to real time as possible. Are immediately actionable, only show KPIs, and as close to real time as possible. 3 characteristics of dashboards, right? Dashboard. So, sorry. Okay. Dashboard lead to reports. Dashboard are general, and reports are detailed. So never forget that design in data visualization is important. Design is not only how it looks. Design is how something works, said Steve Jobs. Design is not only how it looks. Design is how it works. You design how people will use a visualization. You design the experience. That's called UX. Okay. So designing data visualization is important. So you need to plan how the person will use that visualization. Okay. So this is the first step. So what is the supplier with the most participation, with the biggest participation? What is the supplier with the biggest market share? A, B, C, or D? Who's team B? Who's team A?
B.
Team A? None. What is team A? Okay. It's the same. It's the same. Okay, so let me tell you something. Let's kill the pie charts, especially if they are 3D pie charts. Please. Yes, I know. A minus CFO, my CEO loves the pie chart. He actually gets turned on by seeing pie chart. Yes, really, for real. When I arrived to the United States, and this is not only a problem in the United States, problem everywhere in the world. Okay. So when I arrived to my company, I had to, I couldn't fight my VP, okay, of preparation, but I tried to convince him. Okay, I actually did. Okay, he actually forgot about the pie charts, especially in 3D. Okay, so what's a best visualization for this? This one. You know how this is called? Actually, bar chart or column chart. Actually, bar is horizontal, right? Why? Why it's better? What happens if I remove the data labels? You can still see because there's something called how do you call it that in English? There is a common, okay, common point of comparison that starts in 0. So they all start in the same point, in the same line. Right here, you don't compare the length of the bar, you compare angles or diameters. So the human eye is not good for comparing angles, but the human eye is very good by comparing the length. Easier visually to compare the length of the bar. So this is a good visualization because every visualization needs to have an objective, a goal. What is the goal of this visualization? What is the goal? Give me one verb. What is the goal of the visualization?
Compare.
To compare. Yes. So when you compare, is this chart good for comparison? Or this one is better? Bar chart. So if you understand the goal of the chart, it will be easier to actually to pick the right chart. I remember I will be giving a webinar about this on August 2, and I will show you this later. Okay, so this is actually true in Latin America. This is from Venezuela 10 years ago. This is actually a screenshot of an actual result. Okay, so what's the problem here? This is real. This is not made up. What is the problem here? Okay, so it appears that the current president, okay, because this guy is still in the in presidency. Okay, the current president, I think it might think that he won by the landslide, like 10 times of the votes, right? I think, but what's the problem here? There is no, remember, the common 0 point of comparison, common 0 point of comparison. I'm not sure if that's in English, right? Common 0 point of comparison. Okay, everything here starting 0. Here does not start in 0, starting 40 something, 48. Remember? So this is a problem of design. Okay, design is important. You design not only how it looks, but also how it works. Visualization. You need to understand design. It's not only about visualization, pick a chart, but you have to design the visualization. Apart from converting data into KPIs, you need to design the visualizations. Okay, and I'm going to talk about pre-attentive attributes. Okay, what are pre-attentive attributes? Do you remember what to do if you have a sheet of paper with text? What you do to notice something important, a part that is important in the sheet of paper when you wrote something? You underline or highlight. So that's a pre-attentive attribute. Your brain detects this visual hierarchy to actually notice that it's important. So this pre-attentive attribute, pre-attentive because the brain pays attention to that part, okay, to that visual hierarchy. Signal where to look and create a visual hierarchy to help the processing of information. They are unconsciously and immediately detected by our brain. Okay. So this comes in the form of color, size, intensity, position, width, anything that creates a visual hierarchy, it's considered a pre-attentive attribute. For example, this example is not mine, it's from the book Storytelling with Data. How many numbers 3 can you count in this image? How many numbers 3 can you count? 6. Okay, how many seconds did it take? Like 8, 9 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds. Okay, between 5 and 10 seconds. Okay, how many numbers 3 can you count here? It's the same image, but with a visual hierarchy. Can you notice here? Okay, you are making easier for your audience to actually, what I'm doing is I'm controlling your attention and I'm taking you by the hand, say, hey, please look at here. But I'm not telling you to pay attention. I'm asking you to pay attention to one specific point without saying to pay attention. Okay, I do that by creating visual hierarchies. And this is how you design visualizations. This is Schindler List. Okay, so I don't need to ask you what part of the image you are paying attention to, right? The red coat of the little girl. Okay, there's a visual hierarchy. It's like highlighting, it's like underlining. Here, is there any visual hierarchy, obvious visual hierarchy here? No. Yes or no? No. No. Okay, this is not a good visualization in terms of directing the attention of my audience. Okay, and visualizations. The second tip is visualization are not necessarily intuitive. Okay, the data should not speak for itself. Remember, there is a saying: an image is worth 1,000 words, something like that. Okay, yeah, okay, this does not apply necessarily to data visualization. You need to create context. You need to understand the context. There is a magazine called The Economist, an English magazine called The Economist. They have an awesome advertisement. They say, The Economist, we give you the story behind the numbers. This is genius, the story behind the numbers. So you need to understand the story behind the numbers that The Economist said. Okay, so visualizations are not intuitive. If you show a chart, it does not necessarily mean that the audience is going to understand the same that you understand. Okay, an image is not worth 1,000. It's not the same as 1,000 words. It does not apply here. Okay. Okay. So we're going to why do I say that? Because we need to apply stories. Remember this story when we were kids, when we were children. Okay, we were told this story. Do you remember the story? Yes, but do you remember any something that you were taught in elementary school? Probably not, but you remember the story. Why? Because the humanity has transferred knowledge through stories. We are hardwired in our brain to communicate through stories. We remember stories. It's our biology. So we need to use that resource to better communicate. Okay, numbers go to the short-term memory, and stories go to the long-term memory. So we see with the brain. Okay, and there are 3 types of memory: iconic, short-term, and long-term. Okay, when we tell stories, we actually need to use the stories are actually are going to the long-term memory. Okay, numbers usually go to the short-term memory. We have like a space for a couple of chunks or like 4 chunks of data, and we need to pay attention to stories long-term. We remember stories. We remember dramas. We remember any scene. Not always, but most of the time we remember stories. Okay, so we are going to tell stories. That's right, but we need to have a structure to tell a story. Okay, we need to tell a story, but we need to have a structure to tell a story. That's important because when I say, hey, let's tell a story. Hey, when I was a child, I remember I liked to play. No, no, that's not a kind of story. We need to have a structure with the story, okay? And this structure, remember what was the last mile of analytics? Remember? Discovering and communicating. It's concerned into turning raw data into what? Raw data into decisions, remember? Okay, in the last mile of analytics, you need to find what? Decision making. So this is called the cycle of analytics, okay? The what, so what, now what? It's actually finishes with that decision, with an action, okay? So we need to tell a story with a call to action. That's the structure of the story we need to tell. So there are three parts. We need to split the story, okay, into three parts. Okay, we need to adapt what we want to communicate into this structure. Okay, first the what. Okay, what happened? Then so what? Okay, what does this mean? Okay, first mean in the what is what data, what numbers can tell me. So this is a discovery part. Okay, this is a discovery part. In the so what? Okay, I say, why is this important to me? How does this affect me? Why should I worry about this finding that I show in the what? Okay, and now what is, okay, what I'm going to do now about it? What is the action I need to take? You might say, okay, but I'm not a CEO and a data analyst. Okay, I cannot make like a decision by myself. Yes, but you need to be able to co-create a solution, to propose a solution. Okay, if you just show a chart, you are not being a good data analyst. You need to understand what the data, how this impact the business, the project, the product, whatever is being measured. Okay, and you need to be able to propose a course of action, a solution. Okay, you need to understand the business through the data. That's what the data analyst needs to do. Okay, so what other combination, for example? Okay, very quickly. This is a chart. Okay, in the upper part, received attended tickets. Okay, received versus attended tickets. Okay, please tell me. Do not tell me you understand this. Please tell me what decision you can make. Don't tell me if you understand this. Tell me what decision you can make with this. What decision you can make with this? The tickets?
Hire more people. Did you see the population? Charge for failure to attend.
Okay.
Send reminders for those that have received tickets.
Okay, but first, a question. Do you understand the whole context of this? But then how you're making decisions?
You asked me to.
Good point.
Yeah, I'm asking questions.
Okay, but have you seen in any company, organization, people explaining this visualization? Visualization like this? Have you seen? It's very common. It's very common. It's like telling a joke and then explaining the joke. The same. Okay. If you create a chart, if you show a chart, why you need to explain the chart? The chart should be self-explanatory. It doesn't make sense to convert the data, to present the data into a chart and then needs to explain it. That chart needs to tell the whole story without human intervention. Okay? But how do you do that? Storytelling, you need to have the context. Okay? So you can make decisions, that's fine. But you don't have the whole context. You don't have the story behind the numbers, right? Okay, please tell me what decision you can make using this. What decision you can make using this, please? What decision you can make using this?
Hire the service agents.
Yes. You can make a decision?
It's like you did.
Do you recognize the three parts? What is the what? What is the what? The first part.
We can't keep up with the demand.
Is that what the data told us? two service agents resigned at the end of May 2016. Okay, this is a what? What is a so what? How it affects me? It's in black, right? Okay, it affects me because the service collapsed. And what is the course of action, the recommendation? Please, in this moment, approve the hiring of two service agents, at least two service agents, because the demand has increased, right? Okay, yes, a manager can ask more questions, but do you need to explain this to an audience? You need to explain this to an audience, or you cannot, it's self-explanatory. Pretty self-explanatory. And I have changed something in there. Okay, I have changed because I turned this graphic from this is a combined column chart. This is this chart is like most appropriate for presenting how do you call it in English that continuous data, and the other is call it discrete data. Okay, and this is more perfect for continuous data. Sorry, in English. Okay, this continuous data. Okay, so why do you have this line?
Show 1 to 2 diverged. And then
Yes, it will be like a narrow. It could be an annotation. Okay, this is a visual hierarchy or something similar, right? Why did I remove the data labels from from January to May? Yes, visual clutter. Visual clutter. I need to make the decision, okay, from June to on, right? Okay, I have designed the visualization. Okay, I have the data is actually summarized already. Okay, and I have given context. I have told the story, but using a structure. Okay, this is what explanatory data analysis can help you to do. Okay, this is how you convert data. This is how you convert this into this. Am I helping to make decisions to an audience here? What do you think? Okay, this is the impact of explanatory data analysis, and it's not for technical people. It's for people who work with data. Almost everyone here, right? So that's the impact of the research I'm doing in the United States. Okay. Good, Milan. Hope USA give me a green card because I'm applying because of this. Okay, good. So this is explanatory data analysis. Okay, I would love you to read this book, Storytelling with Data. Okay, the best book I have read. Okay, actually, the first time I read about this explanatory data analysis term is in this book, this 2015 book. Okay, read it. I mean, Colt has 3 books now, but this is the best for me. Okay, actually changed my career because it helped me to understand data. Okay, second, I would like to connect with you using LinkedIn. Okay, my name is Alan Ferrandiz. Ferrandiz is my last name. In Latin America, we have 2 last names. Okay, let's connect through LinkedIn, or this is my email. Okay, happen to take any picture, okay, of the presentation. I would like you to share the picture presentation with me through LinkedIn or through my email. I would love to be connected using LinkedIn with all of you. And I'm starting a company. Okay, I am a BI engineer in a company, and I'm a migrant. Okay, so I came to the United States. I left all what I had in Peru, came with another assignment, and start over here in the United States. Okay, so I'm starting a company with a teammate. And this code is called Core Analytica. Analytica is analytics in Spanish. Okay. So we are building not only a company to make money, which is obvious, but we're building a community based on learning. I'm a university teacher. Okay. I teach business intelligence, I teach analytics, and most of what I teach is related to this, to decision making. Okay. So every month we are organizing webinars. Okay, online webinars. Okay, and in August we're organizing a webinar, actually how to show you how to pick the right chart. Okay, something that I talked for a moment today. Okay, decision making with visuals and data analytics on Thursday, August 3rd. Okay, you just need to subscribe to that newsletter. We don't spam. Okay, you just need to go to Core Analytica, and then you will. There's a prompt to subscribe to the newsletter. We will and follow us in LinkedIn. Okay, we are pretty new. We are only 2 people. We don't have more people for now. Okay, we hope to grow. Okay, and if you have any question, I think that we run out of time. But you have one question.
Do we have any question answer session for Alan?
Yeah, I think the term like at FICO, we also, maybe it's more common, explanatory AI. For example, you use the score, credit score. What's important is how can you explain? Because nowadays with machine learning data, what happens is you get a decision, but you can't explain that decision to the user. So I think from that angle, that term is not, we call it explanatory AI. If whatever we give you a FICO score, we need to make sure you understand
Yes.
why you're getting the FICO. What's the insight tell you?
Yes, insights. So
800 versus 600.
you're right, because this is how to connect data with business.
Right.
So this is what I try to do here in the United States by spreading the word in this about this explanatory data analysis. So
Because otherwise your decision is based on an algorithm you can't explain.
yes,
Even if the data tell you this is the right thing, you lend to this person, but why? That's the explainable part, even if you.
yes, connect data with business. You're right.
Exactly. So
Okay.
your angle is aligned with like what we try in our marketing material. It's the same.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any comment? Yes.
My question's more so on like how you operate when it comes to, again, how you communicate between when you're dealing with like the subject matter expert versus when you're dealing with like sponsor and visualizing to them. I know a lot of the times you may find yourself using the same data set. Do you, as a practice, tailor those visualizations or reports, what have you, for who you're presenting to? Or do you kind of communicate with that team beforehand and come to an agreement about, hey, these are the KPIs we're going to utilize, here's all, and get that agreement beforehand, to try and ease
Yes.
and the issue of.
Okay, this is an important point. Analytics is how do you call transversal to any field. You can teach the same analytics to finance, to operations, to any kind of field. But when you present, okay, the presentation needs to be tailored, okay, in terms, in KPIs, in types of visualization charts that are interesting for the audience. You have to think about your audience, okay? Don't think about you, think about your audience when you present. Actually, the process is the same. But the last mile, when you design the visualization, because you need to design the visualization and tailor the story, you need to take into account that it's not the same presentation for a finance, for a CEO. It's not the same presentation. It's different because they are interested in different KPIs. Only the KPIs are different. Okay, marketing people will be interested in market share. CEOs will be interested in revenue or CFO. Customer service people will be interested in net promoter score. The KPIs are different. So the presentation of your visualization, you have to customize for your audience. I think we run out of time. Thank you. Okay, I would like you to follow me on LinkedIn. This is important for me to be connected, or also subscribe to the newsletter because we will be doing webinars every month. Thank you. Thank you.